Welcome to Selling in the Age of AI.
Yeah, this is good stuff. So,
Must-listen podcast for sales professionals who lean into technology without leaning on it. Dive into the future of sales with your host, the dynamic and inspiring Frank Somma, renowned keynote speaker, best-selling author, seminar leader, and business coach. Get ready for game-changing insights and strategies that value technology but place humanity at the top of the sales pyramid.
Benvenuti a tutti. Welcome to Selling in the Age of AI, the podcast where we respect the tech but place human-to-human contact squarely at the top of the sales pyramid. I'm Frank Somma, and today I'm trying something new. So far, every podcast we've had has been a one-on-one interview with a rock star in the world of selling or communications. Today I'm coming out of my skin with excitement to introduce you to my guests. That's right, guests plural. I'm excited because today, in addition to having Steve Carroll, the talented sales director at MBS, we also have two senior members of his team, Vincent Sinopoli and Teddy Mitchell. I am pumped, not just because it's our first multiple guest podcast, but also because these guys are out there doing it day in and day out. They have real life sales call experience as recent as like 20 minutes ago. So let me tell you a little bit about each of them. Steve Carroll, Director of Sales. Steve's got over 15 years of extensive sales experience, enriched by a deep understanding of both sales and technology sectors. He's a staunch advocate for customer satisfaction, consistently going the extra mile to ensure his clients receive the most effective solutions tailored to their needs. Vincent Sinopoli is a graduate of Montclair State University, home of the great Dr. Rob Gilbert, sports psychology professor extraordinaire and my good friend. Vin's got over 6 years of sales experience. From the outset, his passion for engaging with clients and driving business growth has been evident and continues to flourish. At Managed Business Solutions, Vin is known for his ability to forge lasting relationships with clients, consistently providing them with tailored solutions that they can rely on and trust. And last but not least, Teddy Mitchell, account executive. Teddy holds a degree in business administration from East Stroudsburg University. He brings years of sales experience to the Managed Business Solutions team. He's passionate about establishing and nurturing both personal and professional relationships. With a strong desire to comprehend and cater to the unique needs of each client, Teddy's committed to delivering exceptional service consistently. Welcome to the show, you guys. And as I said, keep your audio live. It's like if we were all out to breakfast together, okay? That's what this got to feel like. How we doing?
Doing well.
Oh, well, appreciate that
Fantastic.
All right.
Thanks for having us, Frank.
Yeah. So I'm going to start off and single out Vin.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, because Vin, I know you can handle it. With the advent of point-and-click technology, why do we need salespeople?
Well, when you talk about technology and everything that's happening today, I mean, you still don't get that warm feel of a natural human being, walking into your office, stopping by, bringing the bagels, the coffee, taking them out to lunch and whatnot. I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. Obviously, all the technology and the new things coming out it's great. It's fantastic. It'll make, maybe work a little easier with some occupations and whatnot, but there's nothing like just having like I said, an actual human being, doing the interaction and coming and visiting you and talking with you. So, um, yeah, that's a little
I
on
think
that.
so too, but I mean, why don't we address specifically things like, whatever you're coming to tell me about, I already know, right? I'm going to jump on ChatGPT. I know as much about your business as you do. So tell me a little bit more, Vin. I think you encapsulated pretty well. Teddy, maybe you could add to it. What is it that we're bringing that Google hasn't already done for my client?
I immediately when you said that, immediately that jumped in my head was an example of like my mom on the phone when she's like calling customer service and she's yelling representative the whole time. Like you want to talk to a human, like you don't want to talk to AI or a computer. So I think it's a whole different component. There's still people out there who gravitate to face, human interaction. So like Vince said, it'd definitely be good to enhance what we do, but
Mhm.
to fully take it over and replace salespeople and the whole profession, I just don't see it. So I think salespeople will always be essential in that regard.
You know, I can picture your mom going, "Representative, representative," as the thing's droning on. Press one for this. Press
Yep,
two. Tell us is your problem about representative.
yep. And she just gets mad and hangs up. And
That's great. Hey, Steve, what would you say are three of the best qualities required in a salesperson today? What kind of, when you see, and you've seen a lot of great salespeople, yourself included, what qualities do you think they share? What's maybe your top couple of two, three, four?
I mean, immediately off the bat, and I was going to chime in off what they just said, just first AI, but you have to be charismatic, right? I mean, my best sales calls, my best clients are my friends. You know, we have conversations for 90% about other stuff and 10% about business. So, you know, being charismatic, being able to communicate well, is super important. And then honestly, like being able to take a complicated situation and dumb it down so that it's you know, understandable, right? Like we do a lot with technology. I know we're here to talk about AI and sales in general, but a lot of what we do is tech based, but being able to relay it to the common person, have it make sense. And those traits just in general, I mean, you know, you kind of know when you're talking to a salesperson versus a sales guy, if that makes any sense, right? Like there's old school like car salesman that everyone has a bad connotation for, but then the professional salesperson is just, you know, friendly. Like you immediately like them and you have a good conversation, you get a good feel at the end of the day. Like I just went through the car buying experience, not fun with a couple dealers, but then when I found the right dealer, it was a smooth transaction and I got a new car and I love it now. But I don't know. It just really says something to the different styles of salespeople there are.
What are some of the bogeys you guys think? Like, so this avatar of an overly aggressive, non, pushy, whatever, right? The Tommy boy, in the movie, right? So how do you avoid being that salesperson? What are some of the things you have to not do? Or what are some of the things that people do and don't realize they're doing? What do you guys think?
I mean, I'll jump in, but I mean, like you said, I think when you go in and you come off too pushy or you're trying to like pressure them into doing things they don't want to, if it's, we've all ran into when it's just not the right time for a certain client and you're all over them. When are we going to do this? Blah blah blah. So, again, you really have to truly, care, look into their, growth for them, and if try and take care of them as much as possible. So I think just being pushy and trying to force people into doing things is definitely a no-go in this industry.
But you got to make money. So how do you
Make money.
make your concern so much for the client when what you're doing is a commissionable experience?
I think being solution based, figuring out their pain points, what they have that's, bothering them, with, and being a tool to replace that or just to improve what they have going on. Continue to ask questions and just find those pain points. I think that's huge in what we do. And if you're able to do that and identify that, and then you have a solution for it, then you have a sale. So I think that's huge to the whole discovery and peeling back everything about the client, learn more about their process and what they have going on.
That takes a lot of
Yes.
patience. It really does. It's hard to ask questions and listen sometimes, especially when you think you have the answer. Do you guys practice that? Have you just had it work for you so many times that you keep doing it? What's the secret to having that kind of patience, Teddy? That's uncommon.
I think just coaching from Steve and the rest of the team and just being able to listen, just being able to adapt. I think it's just really being prepared in everything that you do going into the meeting,
Right.
up until that time. And then the rest will take care of itself. So I think it's just a lot in the preparation and being prepared and being able to listen to get you where you need to be.
Yeah. Just to piggyback off that, it made me think of well, when I first started here at MBS, I went on a couple first time appointments with Steve, and while the client was talking, I was still kind of new in the industry, so I was trying, and I kept talking over him and stuff, and Steve would like kick me under the desk and stuff, and he'd be like, just let them talk, like let them talk. So that's good. Just listening to the client, hearing them, vent about what's going wrong, how we could fix it, and that all kind of adds to the whole selling process. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. As I'm fond of saying, nobody ever said, "I hate that guy." All he ever does is listen to me, right?
I
Never,
like
never,
that.
said no one. So, Steve, you mentioned before that one of the traits of successful salespeople is to be charismatic. Define charismatic. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to each of you guys?
I guess that's tough. Like I think Vin nailed it, right? Like caring, like we actually care. And honestly, I feel fortunate in that we're all lucky enough to work in the tri-state because we have an infinite amount of businesses and people to go after. So if I mess up with one person, I could just get right back on the phone or go to the next door and try again. And it almost puts us in a position where we can be picky and choose who we want to do business with and who we don't because you kind of know when you hit it off with someone, right? And you'll know almost instantly within the first probably 10 to 20 seconds. And if they're going to be a good client or if they're going to kind of bust chops the whole time and you're going to be like, oh man, I wish I didn't close that deal. It wasn't worth it. So I think, like you just said, what is charismatic? It's not just about, being the loud, boisterous person in the room, but like you said, listening to them, actually showing them that you care, and getting them to like you as much as you like them. And that's going to really build a great relationship.
So charisma, then, Steve, one of the definitions you gave, it's not being big and boy. So people get confused with this old caricature, lampshade on your head guy. That's not charisma. Listening is charisma. What other things do you think go into being charismatic? Because again, guys, what we're trying to do here is, if I'm a young salesperson, listen to this, and Steve is, knows what he's doing. He's an expert in the field, and he says being charismatic is important. I go, okay, how do I become charismatic? So some of it is asking questions. What other kind of things do you think go into that?
I think being able to process what you're hearing and then put yourself in their shoes and then being able to have the willpower to shut your mouth and hear them all the way through while taking notes and hearing everything that they're saying. And then later, or possibly even in the next meeting, recapitulating it all, right? And going back and then be like, you know what, you mentioned in the first meeting ABC because they're like, oh wow, this guy really listened to me and paid attention and cared. So really just being able to process it and take good notes, mental or write them down, whichever way you could do it best. Um, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And that stuff really obviously stands out to the clients too, because I mean, we all know most of the times you're in these situations, they're talking with other companies, getting other bids and whatnot, especially with the clients that we deal with over here at MBS. So just standing out really shows them, like Steve said, when you come back and reiterate the meeting you guys had last week, they're like, wow, this guy really came in, listened to me, he cares. Meanwhile, the other vendor they're getting bids from, they probably didn't care as much, they didn't show as much thought. So
So yeah, a
And you
lot of
asked
what
about
I'm hearing is asking questions and listening. And Teddy said before, looking for pain points and seeing if you're a fit. So one of the things that I've always thought was super important in terms of managing clients is knowing when you're not a fit and having the bravery to walk away. Have you ever had any of you guys ever had a situation where it was a choice account, but you knew you wouldn't be that good at it and you had to let it go?
I know myself, I've definitely had a couple and recently too, because we're growing in the tech side of things. So, we have 5 divisions that we push and with it comes some new things that we haven't sold before. And when you kind of build that relationship, you become a go-to guy for these clients, right? They're going to call you for anything and anything. Literally, someone called Theo a couple weeks ago for a refrigerator and a microwave, and we were like, "Yeah, we could source it, no problem, because we can through a wholesaler." But like, is that our forte? Absolutely not. So, certain times in the more complex technical sales that we're doing, we have to say, "Look, we've never done this before, and we'd be happy to try it with you, but understand and just set those expectations up front so it doesn't look like you're trying to get one over on someone and just be like, look, this is new for both of us, but we think we could do it. Or, hey, this is outside our realm and I'll try and find you someone that can, but this is not for us.
I mean, that's a huge point, and in order to be able to do that, you have to have a huge hot list, right? If you can't, if you don't have a bunch of other stuff to go to, then you start trying to fit the square peg in the round hole, no?
Definitely.
I mean, desperation, man. Oof. It's like a dog smells fear, customers smell desperation. All right, switch gears a minute. Tell me a story about when the human touch was the difference maker in closing a deal. Not your products, not your services necessarily, because they were equal with maybe someone else, but where the human side of things you think is what made the deal happen. Give me an example of that.
Well, I mean, I'll jump in real quick. I mean, when it comes to, having, a friend or someone owned a company, things like that. Like, I mean, I've been at MBS 3.5 years now, and I've had multiple times where would reach out to a friend or family member and have closed business from that. So obviously, that that comes from just the
Sure.
human touch and being a family and friend with people, but just expanding your network and everything. Um, I know that's probably the most generic answer, but
No, that
Um,
plays, and you know what it plays into for me, Vin, is not so much that you can close your Uncle Harry for his accounting business printer, but what it stands out for me is how many salespeople neglect to go wider and deeper within their own context, their own sphere of influence. You know, Joe Girard said, if you die tomorrow, the average person will have 250 people at their funeral. So, and then he would say, who are those 250 people? Go sell them. You know, so that's kind of the thing, right? How many people do we know, you know, when your sister bought a house or your cousin bought a house, do you know who the title company was? Do you know who the realtor was? Do you know who the closing attorney was? Because you should be able to close. That's going wider and deeper, like you said, Vin, on that personal side. But I think Teddy, you were ready to jump in with a story as well, yeah?
yeah, not a specific story, but just like what I've been seeing overall. Um, like just a lot of relationships and organizations. Like we partner with a lot of nonprofits, and a lot of them know each other and speak, to each other within the North Jersey area. So we've been getting into a lot of those just simply because of people seeing the work that we do with these other nonprofits,
Right.
word of mouth, LinkedIn, all that stuff. They see, the events, the charitable side of what we do with our nonprofit clients, and a lot of that stuff just grows organically from that way. So I think that's big in the human touch type of way. People are referring us to different people, and it's just everything's coming back together and just connecting through each other. So it's pretty cool to see and really get deals and meetings out of you know current clients and people that we know and talk to.
Yeah, that's great. Speaking about nonprofits, Steve, you've had some great success in nonprofits. And what can you share about that and how that worked to be personal in those kinds of accounts?
I think it's actually in the nonprofit sector, it's more important to be personable and everything that Ted just said because most of those companies have to get three bids. So you're immediately against other people. Whereas when you're in, just in regular company, you could go in, meet the owner, and close them that day. So, going up and constantly be in bidding situations, Ted's done a phenomenal job, honestly, with his nonprofit accounts because he gets referrals, right? I view that as a human touch. The referrals that he gets, they already know going in that they want to go with him, and then they go get two other bids just to make sure that he's not whacking them over the head price wise. But through the nonprofits as well, they host a lot of galas and fundraisers and golf outings and everything else. So it's important to kind of ingrain yourself in that community, and you'll see the same people over and over again. And ties into the human touch as well. Then you finally have the meeting and you're in there 45 minutes and the person says, what are we here to talk about again? Because you've just been having conversations about all the people and events and everything else you've been at. And it's like, oh, yeah, copiers or phones or IT. And it becomes a foregone conclusion that they want to go with you. So I think it's doubly, triply important in the nonprofit sector to build that relationship.
I agree with you. So, if you had to talk about the tech and how it works for you guys, as a sales professional, what are you using technology wise? Where do you see it enhancing your role, even going out another 5 years from now? And we all agree that AI is not going to replace you. So, how's it going to enhance you? Where will it make you better?
I'll answer right off the bat. It's helped me a ton recently through Chat GPT, just because I like to look up the person and the company and get a good feel of what they're doing and what they're all about before, right? You can call it almost professional stalking, if you will,
Yeah.
because I know about the company, what events they have coming up, what they've donated to, what kind of culture they're trying to build within their organization, and then even the person themselves. If they're a sports fan, Jets, Giants, Yankees, whatever it ends up being, music taste, all that kind of stuff. And I used to have to scour the internet and go through a million pages of Google and do all that stuff. And now I could just enter a couple of things into Chat GPT and kind of get a really quick dossier on them. So it saves me a ton of time and energy, and allows me to actually dive deeper into other things where I might have, been looking someone up. And some companies have a ton of stuff posted, so you have to like sift through all of it, and it takes a long time. Now I can kind of get the key things and then, spend some time on the things I really want to hone in or that overlap with what I'm going to talk to them about. So, I'm probably the biggest nerd on this podcast right now. Like I love technology, I love to use it. Still playing video games and everything else. So it's, but I really think if done the right way, it could help you work smarter instead of harder.
Yeah. I mean, that's super interesting because there's a couple of things I want to unpack in there. The first one is I went into Chat GPT and said, why would you hire Frank Somma to train your sales team? And then I asked Chat GPT, why would you hire Frank Somma to speak at your sales meeting? And it sold me better than I could sell myself. It was no contest. It kicked my ass. So amazing to do that, right, and find out about people. That's a great tool that you're using, that you said in there. And I think another thing though is I want to be really careful with, and I want to mention this to new salespeople, is to be careful of the gratuitous comments. Like you do research on somebody, you learn a little bit, but be really careful about that, the fish on the wall thing, right? I'll tell you a quick story. A good friend of mine, Mike Reddington, he's been on the podcast, and he's a forensic interrogator, right? So like you find out you got people robbing your warehouse, you send Mike in and he figures out who's doing it by asking people and reading them. Just a genius communicator. So Mike said to me he was in this office and interviewing for a job, and up on the wall there was a little statue of a Corvette, and a model of a Corvette, and he didn't say anything about it. He went through the whole interview. Guy gets up, they're walking out, shake hands, and Mike goes, by the way, I didn't peg you as a Corvette guy, but I just saw the model up there. The guy goes, oh, that's my salesman trap. It's like, what? Oh yeah. Guy walks in here and goes, oh, you like vets? I like vets. I throw him right out.
I like that. I think that plays though, Frank, because you're right. It's a really important piece. Like 90% of probably the research that me, Vin, and Theo and the rest of the guys and girls here do before we go out, we don't use. It's just knowledge that you kind of retain. And if the opportunity presents itself to be authentic and come up in conversation, now you can go for it. But it's, yeah, you don't just walk in and be like, oh, you like the Jets? I like the Jets. We're both miserable, whatever. So yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, the deal is you have to be authentic in anything that you're doing. Teddy, you were talking before about asking questions and finding pain points. You have to be genuinely interested to have that kind of patience, no?
Yep, 1000%.
Yeah, I mean, you can't, and being interested is a decision, right? Being interested isn't something, if you decide you'd like to be interested in this, and that's a really great part of selling. So let's imagine for a moment, Vin, you walk into a client and you know right off the bat that they're a skeptic, a lot of pushback, they're worried that you're going to try to sell them. How do you get somebody like that to get at ease? What kind of things do you do when you get a skittish kind of buyer prospect that's initially skeptical?
Yeah, I think for, when you're walking into meetings like that, those are the ones where, at least in the first introduction meeting, you're not just trying to jam all your services down their throat and whatnot. I think those are the meetings you really take just to build that rapport and make them feel more comfortable with you. Honestly, I would, maybe talk business 25% of the meeting, and the rest of the meeting, like I said, build a rapport, find out some things like Ted's been saying, find out like what their pain points are and needs and whatnot. But you're always going to have those meetings. But again, it's just not trying to jam down pricing and what you're trying to sell
Mhm.
them on first time appointments like that. But yeah, because we all run into those people who are very skeptical about transition and things like that. And you gotta use your personality and your human nature is just to make them feel more comfortable with you and open up to you. So those are the ones you really got to just get the rapport building instantly with.
So it sounds to me like taking your time, everything that you guys have talked about so far revolves around having patience, asking questions, having empathy, being sincere. These are all things that I'm not going to get from a bot, right? So that's kind of what's ensuring us to be in the right place. Just a couple other questions for each of you. What's the best piece of sales advice you've ever gotten?
I would probably say never too high, never too low.
Okay.
Staying even keel because it can be times when you're crushing it, things are going well, you feel like the man on top of the world, and then the next minute things cannot be, not going so well, and then you feel down in the dumps. But if you keep it even keel, you stay disciplined and stick to what works, you'll find success. So just really trying to stay level headed and never get too high, never get too low, and just stay disciplined and focused. I think that that's helped me a lot and continue to help me as I go on in my sales career.
I love it. That's great. Vin, you got something?
Yeah, and I hate to just kind of like steal Ted's, but like just like seriously, just you're gonna have your ups and downs. Like you're gonna have your everyone's gonna have your bad months. And like sometimes you're gonna feel like you're on top of the world and whatnot. So I think just always, keep pushing, stay persistent, don't give up on if you have something not go your way, don't let it kill the rest of your week, the month. You can't let one decision kind of dictate the rest of your month or quarter and things like that. So just got to keep a positive mindset at all times. Be genuine with your clients. Ask for referrals when you feel the time's right, and just build your network. Just keep close with everyone that you're doing business with, and it'll eventually all work out in the end. So
I want to hang on to the referral thing I want to ask you about. Steve, what do you say to that?
Some I agree with both of them 100%. Someone once told me that you want to be the meat in someone's sandwich, right? If you could put yourself in the middle of their process and implement yourself, that they'll do business with you if you make their life easier and more efficient. So whenever I meet with someone, and you were kind of saying that before, right? Like when you go in, how do you break someone down that's a skeptic? Like ask questions about their process and what they do. And if you can find a solution that makes it easier for them and easy for them to do business with you, it makes it a much easier conversation. But it all ties back to caring and just taking time and slowing down. So I would say just be the meat in someone's sandwich and you're good to go.
So when you say when you go to meet someone, do I have to ask you how you spell it? I mean, I'm just
That's yeah.
so Vin, you were talking about getting referrals before. Do you guys spend active time specifically asking for referrals as one of your go-to-market strategies week in and week out?
yeah, I mean, I've honestly at least the past like year or so I've been here because I started building a pretty good base of clients in the last year or two.
Yeah.
And I've been, reaching out to a couple of my closer clients asking for referrals.
How does that work?
There's I have different communication tactics with each client. I feel like it's different with literally everyone because you have a different relationship with each and every one of them. So there's some that I could call on the phone and just be like, hey, listen, I know you work with so and so. Can you do an introduction email, things like that. Then there's clients that you could reach out and say, hey, if you get me in here, like I'll take so and so what amount off your bill with us. You got you offer them a little something. It really is just completely different. But I would say right now there's, a couple dozen that I would feel comfortable enough that I earn the right to ask for referrals. And there's still some that I'm, working on building that rapport with. And I don't feel that I exactly earned that opportunity yet because I still have some time to prove myself to them and whatnot. But um, I guess to answer your question, it really is different each and every
No, you answered
situation.
it super well, and there's some stuff in there to unpack that's fantastic. You said twice. On one of them, you said, "Hey, can you get me in to see so and so?" And on the other one, you said, "I see that you know so and so. Can you?" I forget how you did it in two different ways, but think about that, right? So most salespeople think asking for a referral is, "Hey, Vin, it's Frank. We've been taking care of your copiers for a long time. Can you think of anybody in your business circle that I can talk?
Yeah.
Kill me dead. Like, what a waste of time. But if you say instead, hey, Frank, it's Vin. I've been dying to meet Ted. I know you know him. I'm wondering if you can make an introduction. Specific ask is miles ahead. And Vin, you just did that so naturally. And the other thing you said is you've got to earn the right. Which is true. You've got to be, you can't ask for too much too soon, right? You don't walk up to some attractive stranger and say, "Hi, would you like to come home with me?" I hope,
I don't.
if you're single and looking for love, right? You're not walking up to every stranger in the bar that's attractive to you and saying, "Hey, do you want to come home with me?" You're saying, "Hi, gee, that's a nice jacket," like earn the right to get there. So on the referral side, that's a really big deal, and being invited in is so much better than cold calling your way in, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, absolutely.
Man, oh man, I'm
Um,
glad that you guys have that as a part of your process. Steve, you had something to add on the referrals? I was reading your body language. It looked like you wanted to say something in there.
I was going to say the other thing that I see Vin and Ted do often is in the meeting bring up, right? We have clients that all are in the same vertical. So they'll say, "Oh, we work with so and so." They do their research before the meeting, and it's almost like a real-time referral. Like, "Oh, you know the CEO of this company that we also work with. Please give them a call and ask them about me." So it's not necessarily a referral, but a little shameless plug of someone you're already working with doing the
Yeah,
research. And I see them do that extremely well, and it works out every single time.
that's a great way to relate. Okay, final questions, and these are for everybody who has to jump in. If you could offer just one piece of advice to a brand new sales professional, what would it be?
I guess I'll go first. So for someone just starting out in sales, I want to just reiterate what I said before, but it's not just you're not going to come on board and start closing deals and making all this money. It's there's a process. You got to obviously learn the product, learn the whole, the sales tactics and the whole sales process. And I just don't want people coming in and thinking it's all going to happen overnight or in the first month or two. It takes a little time to ramp up and really, build the base of clients and everything. But I will say once you're couple years in the industry, it's very rewarding, and stay in it for the long run. It's definitely worth it at the end. But again, you gotta know coming into it, it's not, it's tough, it's hard, but you gotta stay humble, stay positive, and just put the work in, and it'll reward you at the end.
Teddy, what book or podcast recommendation can you give us in sales?
B2B is really P2P by Frank
That's a,
Somma.
I've heard that one. It's very, very nice. Thank you. That was awfully
Yep,
nice of you.
yep.
You
Everyone
guys
should check it
listen
out.
to, yeah, you guys listen to anything? You out there reading anything new, newsletters, anything? Anybody you seeing online that you're following?
Um, I mean, honestly, I just I'm gonna sound like a young guy here, but I follow a lot of stuff like on like TikTok, but I like just
Yeah.
different pages like mindsets and sales stuff. I mean, Steve's sending us gifts and reels every day, like stuff to motivate us and whatnot. So little things like that. But honestly, they come across and they get the job done. Like, you see a video first thing in the morning and it just changes your whole mindset for the day. And you get on phones, start hammering them, setting up appointments and stuff. So, I gotta, start looking into a couple more podcasts and stuff like that. But right now it's just the reels and videos, things like that,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of
good
just come
stuff.
to me. Yeah.
And when you're driving around, finding something like that to listen to is, it's a good idea because you get a gem out of anything. No matter what, if you listen to anything within your discipline, you're going to find something that you like. So if we go forward, let's push out. I'm retired. You guys are still selling. It's 5 years down the road. What's changed? How's your days? Can you picture like a futuristic view, Stevie? What happens now? What happens down the road?
I think it's going to be a drastically different, more of the same picture. Like it's
Okay.
going to be different how we do everything. We're going to utilize definitely AI in kind of like what we said in our research and our business plans, even in trainings and everything else, right? It's going to make it faster, easier, but it's going to open up more time to do the old school selling. And what I meant by drastically more of the same, I'm still going to be, talking to my clients and bringing them out to dinner or whatever we need to do, and build those relationships. And the clients where we don't think we're going to click, I'm going to make sure my hot list is big enough where I could walk away and say, hey, this isn't going to be a good fit, because life's too short. You got to love what you do. And I love what I do. And someone once told me, a mentor of mine, his name's Frank Somma, you might have heard of him, told me, make the decision to care. I think you said that earlier on the podcast too. And that probably was the best advice. That's what I should have said. Because when you make the decision to care, and not just in work, but in life with your loved ones, that's what you told me with my family and everything else, and really be present in the moment, amazing things happen. And I've taken that into almost every sales call that I go into, and it works out for the best if you're able to do that. It's not easy all the time, but if you can and focus on it and keep it top of mind, it really makes a big difference.
It really does. So let's round it up. Anything you, first of all, you guys have to give a commercial here. Talk to anybody, listen, why would they come to MBS and what would they come to you for? And second thing, talk to me about any charities that you support and you want to give a shout out to.
Hi, guys.
Come on, who's doing the
I
MBS
think
commercial?
just the people who work here, from the salespeople to leadership to service. Like, we're the type of people you want to work with. There's a million tech companies out there, but it's really come down to who cares, who's going to be there when you when you need something, when you call, when you email, whatever the case may be. So, just being a resource for our clients. Whether it's business or whatever they may need, just being a resource there, providing white glove service. So, if we keep that mentality and mindset going, you know, we'll crush it. So
And that's why we should work with you. And then Vin, what are the products that you guys specialize in?
Yeah. So, managed business solutions. We have five main divisions. So we do copiers, leasing and servicing of copy machines, printers. We do full voice over IP phone systems. We have a full IT division as well. So help desk support, cloud migration, network, cybersecurity, anything that consists of IT we can handle. Then we have a whole hardware division as well. So we've been doing a lot with nonprofits and schools, especially. We're very flexible with the purchase options, lease options of laptops, computers, display boards, anything that plugs into the wall, you name it. We could help you guys get it for some good pricing as well. Then we have a whole marketing division as well for your social media needs, website design, blogs, events. Again, it's just been really big in the nonprofit and charter school community right now with you know bundling everything together, one-stop shop for all your tech and marketing needs. So, you
Right.
guys need a good vendor, reach out to Vin at MBS. I'll take good care of you.
Perfectly done. Perfectly done. So, shout out to a couple of charities that you guys support. Let me know who you're working with out there that we should give some airtime to here.
Yeah, we do a lot with special needs. So we do Special Olympics. We always do the polar plunge. Our company rents us a house, and we're down the shore freezing for a reason. We do a lot with YMCA's, Boys and Girls Clubs, United Ways of New Jersey's, and then various just the Alliance and ASA are two big special need communities that we, not only handle tech for, but go to all of their conferences and events as well. And recently NAPSEC as well, which is a national nonprofit for special needs. So I'm personally tied into the special needs. It's probably why I keep bringing it up. I know the guys have a couple others as well, but Special Olympics is definitely the biggest one, and we have fun going down there and jumping in the ocean. That's probably our favorite one to do each year.
I did a polar plunge with John Sentner. John's passed away maybe 10, 12 years now. But so we used to partner Coolizemia Foundation with the Elks. John was the president of New Jersey Elks. And we did a polar plunge down in Belmar every year. And man, oh man, of course, I'm the charity, Cooley's Anemia charity to partner with, so who's got to lead the charge no matter what? And man, was that fun and terrible at the same time. Oh my goodness.
Shocks your whole body. Great.
Really awesome. Thank God, God invented tequila for polar plunges.
That's right. Although it instantly makes you sober when you jump in that wall.
Fireball's a good one too.
Yeah, well, there you go. You guys have been awesome. I appreciate all the time you took out of your selling day to be on with me. And I'll put out a commercial for you. These guys in 5 different disciplines will look out for you. Like, the idea is who you're going to call when there's a problem. You don't want a 800 number or a bot or a chat or any of that. You want to pick up the phone and go, Teddy, I got a problem with this. Vin, I got a problem with this. Steve, I got a problem. And these guys will answer their phone. They're absolutely service-centered, customer-focused. And you could do no better than to give your business in those disciplines to MBS. Thanks so much for being on, you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, Frank.
Appreciate it.
Ready to take your sales team or event to the next level? Visit franksomma.com to discover how Frank can coach your top performers, deliver a tailored workshop for your team, or captivate your audience with a content-packed keynote at your next event. Frank's best-selling book, B2B is really P2P, is now available on Amazon and Frank's website. Here's a special offer. As a valued listener, mention this podcast when you contact Frank and receive a 10% discount on your first coaching session, keynote, or workshop booking.
That's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Selling in the Age of AI. Be sure to check out the show notes for links to all of the topics we discussed, and of course, to connect with our amazing guests. I have to shout out big love to my production team, Neeks, Angelo, Nico of Digital Presence. You guys rock. If you want your digital presence to explode, check these guys out at digitalpresence.team. And until next time, remember, people can't point and click you. Be the difference maker for your prospects and clients.